Good afternoon, I'm Robert Tan. From your wallet to the wider economy, join us as we follow the money. Central Visayas is one of the country's fastest growing economic regions, and everything from sugar to steel, from cargo to commuters still moves by sea. Today, we go behind the deck of an inter-island shipping company that's betting big on newer and faster vessels to keep growth moving. And joining us this afternoon is Kyle Alexander Aznar, President and CEO of Aznar Shipping Corporation, a third-generation Cebu-based shipping company now expanding its fleet, securing pioneer routes status from Marina, and eyeing new routes across the Visayas. Good afternoon, Kyle, and welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, good afternoon, Robert, and it's good to be here.
All the way from Cebu.
Yep.
Yeah, because you mentioned you don't have an office here. You came all the way from Cebu.
Yeah, our main office is really in Cebu City.
Okay, Kyle, let's start with this. The Central Visayas is a growing tourism, trade, and industry hub. Now, how is that changing demand for passenger and Aurora shipping services?
Well, over the last several years, barring the pandemic, we've really seen a growth in passenger and cargo demand. And in fact, I read a study by the Center for Research and Communication, or CRC for short, and it even shows that Visayas outpaces the whole Philippines and even NCR when it comes to gross regional domestic product. And, but even without these numbers, even without this data, I myself, being involved in the operations, I've seen it with my own eyes that over the last several years, we've really seen an uptick in demand for passenger and cargo services.
Now, the company has been here since the 90s. How has it changed? How critical is it now to connect inter-islands in terms of logistics, moving passengers, moving goods and services across these regions?
Right now, we've seen where a lot of the growth is already coming from not just the major cities, but really the areas and communities around it. So, for example, like in the Visayas, where a lot of the growth centers, they're separated by the sea. So you have Iloilo, you have Bacolod, you have Cebu, you have Ormoc, and these are all growing very fast. And then that's where we come in, inter-island shipping companies. We're connecting these communities.
Now, you've said the region's economic fundamentals, they give you confidence to keep investing in new vessels. It's very expensive. Now, what does that data show?
Like I mentioned a while ago, I read a study made by CRC. So in the data there, the GRDP rate, or gross regional domestic product of the Visayas, has been growing at around a clip of 6.36% per annum for 2021 to 2025. And in the data, it shows that we've been outpacing Luzon. I think Luzon is around 5.71%, and the national average is 5.79. So the difference is quite significant. And another fundamental metric that we've been seeing is the population growth. So in some of the areas we've been serving, we've seen the population has been growing from 2020 to 2024, the compounded annual growth rate of, in some areas, 3%. So that also outpaces NCR, which is around just 1.44% in the same period. And the national average, if I'm not mistaken, is 1.66. So again, the difference is quite significant. So with these fundamentals in mind, we're confident we can invest in bigger vessels, newer vessels, because the fundamentals are there to support the growth.
Now, how difficult is it to navigate that area in the Visayas? And how do you, let's say, plan in terms of creating new routes? And which ones do you focus? Which areas are your biggest areas where you have to push your ships towards?
Right now, we're a very data-driven company, so we really look at the numbers. We look at the passenger volume, the cargo volume. Of course, we'll also look at the competitors. We also look at the port conditions. But then at the end of the day, we really follow the numbers and we take it from there.
Now, what's competition like? You mentioned before the show that your ships are smaller, so you can navigate areas which the big ships can't actually navigate into.
Yeah, that's right. So I think what a lot of people get wrong is they think we're in the same segment as like the bigger shipping companies, like flying Manila to Cebu or Cebu to Mindanao, but that's not actually the case. We're actually complementing the larger shipping companies because we're operating in areas that their ships can't enter. Like these areas don't have the facilities that can accommodate the larger container vessels. So what we're doing, we're actually plying the feeder routes, which means Like for example, from Manila to Cebu, they're dropping off their goods to Cebu. We're the ones transporting the goods to the neighboring areas, the neighboring islands.
Now, when you look at navigating these areas, how do shorter travel times and bigger capacity in terms of your ships translate into real economic benefit for the communities that you serve?
Well, for one, passengers will have a shorter travel time. So, and for businesses, traders, logistics companies, they're gonna have faster turnaround time for their trucks. They can utilize their assets more. And if you talk about like the increasing our capacity, our cargo capacity, we're actually, when we do that, we're actually benefiting from economies of scale, so which is also improving our margins. So in turn, we can actually keep pricing very reasonable for our customers, and that really helps them grow their business. That helps them. That helps gives confidence to these businesses, these local businesses, to expand, because they know that the transport cost can be kept at a certain price.
Now, in this industry, what kind of mix in terms of movement of people, movement of goods and services, movement of vehicles? What's the mix? There's some shipping companies that focus more on moving people. There's some more really focused on the movement of goods and services. Where does yours pan in this one?
Well, right now for us, we do both. We do passenger and cargo, right? But cargo still makes up the bulk of what we're transporting, around 70%. And it's all year round. Unlike with passenger, it's more seasonal. Cargo, especially our market where the demand is recurring and essential, it's very steady, it's very constant.
Yeah. Okay, Kyle, we're just going to take a short break. We'll still discuss a lot more about the new shipping routes that you're going to have in the region. But we'll take a quick break. Keep following the money. Welcome back to Follow the Money. Still with us is Kyle Alexander Asnar, President and CEO of Aznar Shipping Corporation. Now, Kyle, we were mentioning, now, are you focused more on the short haul shipping and across more high frequency routes? So where are they? Where are they scattered in the region?
Yeah, that's correct. Right now, our niche market is really the short haul, high frequency routes. And right now, we're serving markets between Cebu and Leyte, Cebu Negros, Cebu Bantayan Island. And the volume has been very good because we've noticed that volume for these routes, the cargo we're transporting, a lot of them are recurring and essential demand. So they're very resilient to economic crisis. So like for example, even with the recent fuel crisis, we haven't really seen any dip in cargo demand because the goods we're transporting, they're really basic necessities like food, fuel, raw materials, agriculture. So that's why we've chosen to focus on this market. And turnaround or turnover is a key part of our strategy. So unlike with the longer haul routes, with our short haul routes, we can do multiple trips in a day. So sometimes even 6 times a day. So we can utilize our vessels more. We can transport more people and goods in a shorter amount of time.
How much has the strategies changed since the 90s and now into your generation in terms of running the company, focusing on these regions? What has changed, and what have you learned from the past also?
Well, from what I've learned, since the fundamentals are there, the demand is really growing, we've really made an effort to benefit from economies of scale. That's why we've been really scaling up our vessels. We're buying bigger vessels because the operating expense for the bigger and smaller vessels, the difference isn't really that much. But you're carrying maybe triple, quadruple what we used to carry with our older, smaller vessels. So that has been my focus in the recent years, and that's what led to us having better margins, better gross profit.
So you just focus in that region. Are you not thinking in the future maybe tapping the Luzon market?
Now, for now, I'd say there's still a lot of unmet or unserviced demand in the Visayas, and that's where we want to stay. That's really our niche market. We've grown here. We're from here, and I'd say in the next 5 years, I'd still say Visayas is where we want to be.
How much has the crisis affected your business in terms of fuel costs, in terms of everything that's, let's say, prices that have been going up? How much has it affected your business?
Yeah, initially I was quite concerned, but then as the weeks and months went by after the crisis, I saw that there was actually no dip in passenger or cargo demand. Maybe passenger just a bit, but cargo stayed very resilient. And like I mentioned a while ago, with these short-haul routes, we're transporting basic essentials, and they're very resilient to economic shocks in terms of the volume. And we also work hand in hand with the government, our customers, our clients to to adjust our pricing accordingly.
But what has enabled you in terms of the strategy that you've been doing for your company to avert a lot of these, what the crisis has been affecting? Because a lot of business have been affected because of this crisis, but you mentioned you weren't really that much affected.
Yeah, so one, we also work regularly. We communicate constantly with our clients, with our customers. We talk about the price. We try to be fair. We try to have a win-win situation for the pricing. Also, I guess we've really benefited from buying larger vessels, because I mentioned a while ago that the margins for these larger vessels are a lot better than the smaller ones.
Now, how bigger?
I'd say the vessels we bought recently are quadruple the size of
what you currently have?
what we used to have before I took over the helm of managing the company. And that really helped us during the crisis because, the fuel cost with the smaller and larger vessels, it's not that, the difference isn't that big, but you're carrying
More.
you're carrying more.
But it hasn't affected in terms of where you can dock, because if it's a bigger ship, there are going to be areas where it's going to be harder to dock.
That's also one thing we've done. Since most of our new vessels are custom made for us, we've really been active in the design. So we made sure that before we buy them, they were tailored fit to our port conditions.
Now, Asnar just got Marina Pioneer route status on Danao Isabel, 6 years of route protection. Now, what does that unlock for your investment plans in the future?
So the pioneering program, it's a government program, and it's meant to modernize the shipping industry. It's meant to push players to invest in new modern vessels, and for a player like, it's called Ajax class. So it's a certain certification for a ship. It's very expensive. It's regulated by an international body. But if we were to buy these kinds of Ajax class vessels, Ajax stands for International Association of Classification Societies, and Ajax for short. That's when the government gives us the 6-year route protection. And although they're more expensive, with the 6-year route protection, it gives us confidence to spend that much capital in investing these vessels. And yeah, it's really led to shipping companies buying more modern vessels.
So it's healthy competition, creating more innovation, more than unhealthy competition that's happening in the region.
I'd say there's healthy competition. I would say we're very
Sparking
civil,
more innovation in terms of the services that you provide.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of us are focused on improving the service, improving the quality of the ships, and yeah, that's healthy competition. But at the same time, it's also benefiting the riding public. They're riding faster vessels, safer vessels.
Now, there's talk about an Iloilo route and your company being IPO ready. Now, what does that mean for your company, and how real is that? Is there a timeline that you're looking at?
Well, we're studying the Iloilo route, but whether it's Iloilo or anywhere else, again, we're a very data-driven company. We're going to look at the numbers first. We're going to look at the cargo, passenger volume, the level of competition there, port conditions, and we take it from there. So, and regarding going IPO,
yes.
Well, it's something we seriously think about, but it's not a concrete plan yet. What I'd rather say is that we're trying to benchmark ourselves with a public company.
So far, where are your routes located in the region?
Right now, we're flying Cebu to Leyte, Cebu to Negros, Cebu to Bantayan. So still mostly in the Visayas area.
So what kind of, let's say, what kind of products that you do you ship around these areas, and how critical is that? How important is the shipping lines there and the logistics part of that in being able to move people and move services and goods in that area?
It's a large mix. Like, for example, for our Cebu to Negros, what I noticed is we're transporting a lot of manufactured products to Negros area, but then the load coming back is a lot of raw material, a lot of agricultural products. Yeah, so really, like I said, basic essentials, basic commodities.
You mentioned a fleet expansion, bigger ships. Does that mean more jobs in terms of in the future, creating more employment in the area?
Yeah, definitely. So when we expand our ships, when we buy new vessels, we're actually creating new jobs both offshore and onshore. So for example, offshore in the ship, we're providing a lot of jobs for Filipino maritime professionals. So you have engineers, you have officers, captains, cadets. And then onshore, you have the support personnel. So maintenance, support operations, tellers, customer service. And also what we're doing right now, we partner with maritime institutions and we're providing their cadets with free apprenticeship training programs in our company. So at any given year, we probably have 200 cadets training with us.
That's very good because you communicate with the schools.
Yep.
So that when they're ready and you need it, it's easy because that's kind of the problem in some industries where we have a lot of graduates, but they can't get into the workforce because there's not enough jobs lined up for the courses that they take. So how important is that for you, that you have a good communication with the maritime industry in terms of trying to get more people into the workforce?
It's very important because we see expansion not just as expanding our fleet or vessels, but we also see expansion as providing our Filipino maritime professionals with a steady pipeline for their career.
Because instead of them going somewhere else, keep the best of them here, right?
Oh yeah, well, some of them still do go outside, but we're also helping giving them experience. So yeah, after they're finished doing their training with us or their stint with us, they're better equipped for better opportunities also.
Where do you source your ships? Is it local? Is it international? Are they built here? Are they fixed here? What's the mix?
Right now, most of the vessels we've been buying are bought internationally. Yeah, mostly from China at the moment.
Is there in the future talking about maybe building your own ships, have a shipbuilding as part of your services, or fixing ships in the area? Is that part of the plan?
Actually, ship repair and shipbuilding are two very different things. So I want to focus more on the ship repair. So here in the Philippines, we're mandated by government to undergo dry docking every 2 years, regardless of the condition of your vessel. And for us, we've been growing our fleet. We're gonna need to improve our maintenance, our efficiency, our turnaround time. Because while your ship is on dry docking, it's basically not making any money. It's just sitting there undergoing maintenance. So that's why we're prioritizing developing our own shipbuilding ship repair capability. And we see that we've been prioritizing it because we see it as providing us with more immediate tangible gains.
How expensive is it to, let's say, maintain a ship, especially here in our region? You know, we have typhoons, right? So how are you able to secure your ships and ensure also that you know where the weather patterns are, where your ships are, in terms of safety, in terms of also it being shipworthy? Seaworthy.
Well, thankfully, we get a lot of advanced info on where the typhoons are passing. And the good thing with the ships, you can always move them. So yeah, we usually move them away from the path of the typhoon. And Cebu also being in the middle of the archipelago, it's considered a safe harbor. So the sea conditions aren't as rough as, let's say, like areas facing directly from the Pacific Ocean. But then, yeah, if it's in the path of the typhoon, we just simply move it to safer harbors.
Are there any other things that you're planning in the future in terms of innovation, in terms of also besides talking about the Iloilo route, more areas that we can serve?
Right now, our immediate goal is really meeting the unmet demand in the Visayas. So, and also we're very aggressive with pursuing fleet modernization. So that's why we've been buying bigger vessels, newer vessels, Ajax-class vessels, like I mentioned a while ago.
How expensive is it to just maintain one, or just buy one ship? I would imagine it would.
Well, the price can vary. No, it really depends on the size, and the price varies a lot, like from year to year, or even a few months apart. And it's really because the steel price really fluctuates.
Technology has changed. How much has technology changed in terms of the ships that we have now, the ships that you had before?
Well, one of the more immediate changes is really, well, the newer ones are more fuel efficient. They're faster.
Use of technology, AI, is that also part and parcel of what you use today?
Well, I'd say for AI, I foresee it being used more in the back room. I guess like with operations, like the front end, I think not so much, but definitely with accounting, with our booking system, with our metrics, I think AI can really play a role there.
It helps a lot in terms of lowering down your OPEX.
Yeah, exactly. Especially on the backroom, number crunching,
Yeah.
Looking at sifting through the data. Because we have a lot of data day to day, and that's where I see AI playing a big role.
Okay, Kyle, let's move on now to our rapid fire segment. Just quick questions, quick answers. Let's start with this. If Aznar Shipping had a theme song, what's playing on the deck?
It would easily be "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen, because it's also one of my dad's favorite songs, and I can relate because the song's about momentum, and our growth in the last few years has been gaining steadily, like momentum, and I don't see us stopping anytime soon.
That's very good. Now, what's the one thing passengers don't realize happening behind the scenes before every trip?
Yeah, so not just us, but many other shipping companies experience this. We often get complaints that we're not departing on time, maybe 20, 30 minutes late. But that's not actually our call. So before a ship departs, it has to go through Coast Guard inspection,
Yeah.
and the Coast Guard has to give the go signal for us to depart. So there's a lot of things going on. You have the Coast Guard going through a checklist of what we need before we're allowed to depart.
Well, safety first, dapat, diba?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't mind.
Okay. Sunrise departure or sunset departure, which one hits different?
Easily sunrise because I'm a morning person.
Yung sunset, minsan maganda, hindi mainit.
Okay din yung sunset, but I still prefer the sunrise.
Okay. If you could name the next vessel after anyone, who gets the honor?
Well, I've already named vessels after my dad and my grandfather, and I'm still here, so I can't name it after myself. So easily my great-grandfather. He didn't start the company, but I'd always say we stood on the shoulders of giants. And my grandfather would have never been able to start the company if not for the resources that he was able to get from his
The current
dad.
names of your top ships now?
Alexander Aznar one, which is my dad.
Your dad?
Yeah, and Manoling for my grandfather.
Okay, quick word association. The sea means blank to you.
Livelihood.
Livelihood.
Yeah.
So how much has the kind of mindset that you have now that you got from your dad and your grandparents when they started this business?
Well, they've always taught me to be, one, hardworking. They've always taught me that business isn't going to be easy. You're going to have to give it your all. And you're going to, when you have a business that's successful and it's running, you really have to find ways to improve it. You can't just keep it as is.
Okay, finally, Kyle, as Central Visayas continues to grow, what role do you see Aznar Shipping playing in the region's future, and how do you follow the money in this business?
Well, Aznar Shipping is, to its core, a logistics company. And logistics is really a critical segment of the supply chain here in the Visayas, since I mentioned that all the growth centers are separated by the sea. And I foresee Aznar Shipping as being a sea bridge connecting all these growth centers together. And by doing that, also spurring economic growth.
Do you see this as a legacy business, from your grandparents, your father, and now you, and hopefully your children?
Oh, definitely. Like, I wouldn't be able to do all these things if not for the work sacrifice of my grandfather or my dad.
And the kind of work ethic that you have to have in this kind of business.
Yeah, exactly. They were quite strict on me.
Okay, on that note, Kyle, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, for your insights, and of course, sharing, how the shipping lines in the Visayas region has helped, connecting not only people, but, moving goods and services in these areas is very critical in this region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert.
And that's all for today. I'm Robert San. Thanks for watching. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel, and always follow the money.
Thank you.